Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. This is Doab Sar.
And I'm Raja Saroso. Hey, we welcome you to our show, Breakout.
Changing the society one step at a time. Today's topic is particularly interesting and something that I think we all can relate to on some level. And that is the topic of social media.
But today we will also be discussing different aspects of social media, not just talking about the typical things that we have discussed. We want your input into what we're going to discuss, and for that we will be going live on Facebook, receiving your comments live, and trying to answer your questions or give our opinion. You can also share your views with us.
So if we generally talk about social media, the first thing that may come to our mind is the advantages and the disadvantages, but we will try to see this from a different perspective. So if we start by simply just if I ask you, okay, how much of social media do you think has impacted your life compared to the past 10 years? So what would you like to say to that?
Okay, I can just recall and tell you that I joined my first social media page almost 7-8 years ago. So for me, it was very fascinating to see that I could get connected to so many, like all of my friends on one platform. I remember I joined Orchid, if you remember, that was a very popular website back then. So I joined that, and I was really interested in, finding out, chatting with people, finding out different people, meeting different people, and that was really interesting for me. So over the 10 years, the transition has been so surreal that, you can now just go live and just feel like the person is standing right in front of you.
Yeah.
So that kind of transition has just changed the things in the past 10 years completely.
So I think this one thing that I would like to add here is that communication has become so easy now because of all these social networking websites. There's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. But at the same time, it's sort of ironic that it has also become a communication barrier at the same time.
I agree. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure it's the same case in your house. When we go home, you would see your mom watching the television, your dad busy on his phone getting his schedule fixed. You would be seeing your brother on his headphones listening to songs. So it's basically even you end up doing something or another on the social media. So that's really ironic, right?
It's kind of funny that when we all sit in one room as a family, and instead of communicating or talking to each other, we are concerned with what's going on our phones, because on Facebook, we're updating our statuses as spending time with family or having fun with family.
Yeah.
But the strange thing is that we're not talking to each other at all.
That's totally, I can agree with that, and I can give you one of the recent examples that I have. Just a month ago, I was in Mauritius, and we were 11 different people from different countries, and we were living in the same house, but we always had this communication barrier that everyone was on their phones or on their laptops. Like sometimes it could be really important, like I wanted to talk to my mom, so for that obviously I needed to go on the Messenger or the Skype. But other than that, like I was a bit annoyed by the fact that no one was really talking to each other in the starting. That communication barrier obviously was removed later on.
Right.
But in the starting, it was a big problem for me, and it could have been a major problem in the future as well.
But now that you're talking about, now that we are discussing the advantages and disadvantages, I think we've only seen the negative perspective of social network until now. But now that you brought it up that when you were in Mauritius and you could communicate with your mother, it was so easy for you. This could not have been possible 15 years ago, where you have to specifically call from a specific phone, a specific number, and that also costs money. So I think if we talk about the good side of social network, this is one advantage that we have had, that communication with people far and wide has become easier. What
Absolutely. Like I can give you another example from the same incident, that sometimes I used to feel homesick. Sometimes I used to feel like I need someone who can speak my language, someone who I can talk to, and someone who I'm familiar with. So what I used to do was I used to call up my mom right away, and it was like she's just standing in front of me. I used to miss my dog, and I could Skype with him all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. It has changed our lives for good as well.
Yeah, it has, and obviously when it comes to anything in the world, everything has its good side and its bad side. But one thing that I personally feel, because being a user of social media, belonging to a generation surrounded by social media, don't you think that it has sort of become sort of a life cycle for all of us, that it has lead for us to having confidence issues when it comes to, like, okay, if I got less likes and my friend got more likes, that causes insecurity in all of us. And I don't know, the audience may or may not agree with this, that we may not admit it, but it causes problems for us.
Absolutely. I've seen people literally begging for likes just for the sake of for the satisfaction of their ego. They would message me to give them likes. it has that thing has changed recently. Like people have finally got some brains to use in social media.
Right.
But before, it was something very common. I'm pretty sure you have faced something like this as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I actually have been, even now. I thought this was only happening like 4 or 5 years ago, but even today I get messages that, please like our picture, please comment on our
So
picture.
how did you respond it? Because you don't want to be rude, right? You don't want to just look arrogant. So how did you respond to that?
I just simply say, okay, fine. But it's not something that makes sense in my head. That, okay, are you trying to prove something to others that I am better than you, or are you trying to prove that to yourself that I am very good, I am better than others? I think this is becoming a problem for our generation day by day, and it's affecting us in our daily lives in any way possible.
I agree. Yeah.
Even when, let's suppose we're going to an event, the only reason we even dress up is so that we have good pictures.
Yeah, like I remember when we were shooting our first episode, we wanted to take a picture first and then start the whole thing.
Yeah.
Without experiencing the whole thing, we just wanted the likes first, so people could know that we're going on here and we will be on camera. So yeah, you're right. In some ways, it has affected all of us, on different levels, of course.
Right.
But it has.
I think it's a bit unfair to say that it's only our generation that's being affected by it. Let's be fair. Even our parents, even our younger siblings, they use social network just as much as we do. And even people that you won't even imagine that they use social network.
My father is on his Facebook more than I am. He uses it so much. I know it's a good thing, especially when you get to an old age, you want to get reconnected to the people from your past.
Right.
I totally understand that. But sometimes I just feel annoyed that he's using it all the time.
But the funny thing is that there was once a time that the malis or the maids or the guards, they didn't even have phones. Now they have proper Facebook accounts that they use to communicate with others. I think that's a pretty funny thing.
Yeah.
Which
and I think more serious issue over here is the fact that it has been used for so many crimes now. It is being used for so many crimes now.
Cyberbullying, that's a very big problem.
Yeah, and a lot of terrorist organizations are using it as a tool to communicate with their followers. So that is also a major issue. And there's very less regulation. Like when I'm saying this, I mean it that there's very less regulation on controlling the whole habit.
Like if we come to our next point, which is cyberbullying, I think this isn't something that is being talked about too much by our television programs or even such an issue that's been highlighted in our society. And this is honestly not just a problem of our society, it's a problem for every society in the world because social network is not just here, it's all over the world.
It is.
And yes, the government has passed an anti-cyberbullying bill, but let's be honest, has it actually taken some action?
How effective it is, that's the main point. Like you can pass all the laws that you want to, but how effective those laws are, that really makes the whole difference. And how do you look at this? There was a whole debate before that it's going to restrict the freedom of people and the freedom of expression and all of that. How do you look at this recent passing of the bill?
I think this is a classic case of walking the walk and talking the talk because they're just talking the talk. They haven't done anything to prove that, okay, this bill has been passed for the betterment of the society or the population. It's not working. In honest opinion, you and I, we both keep an eye on the daily issues or the current affairs. Have we seen any case until now where somebody has actually been punished because of cyberbullying?
I don't remember any, to be honest. Like there are a few, you keep hearing about them, but you don't really know what happens in the end, how effective it has been. So yeah, but then there are good sides as well. I personally feel that it's always up to the person that how much you want to use something and how, like what way are you going to use the thing and what type of the way that you want to use it. So it really depends on each individual. If I want to use it only for beneficial things, only for the things that are productive, then I will use it for that thing. But if I want to use it for something else, then I will use it for that.
I think I agree with you on that every story has two sides of the coin, and there can be good things, there can be bad things. In the end of the day, it does depend on the person, that what you take away from it. Like, I was researching, and I'm pretty sure you've done some research as well, that one of the biggest advantages of social network is the marketing or the awareness of anything. Like, for example, let's say there's some kind of cancer awareness or some kind of person who needs help with their business. Now the promotions and the spreading of the word has become so easier, because now you don't need posters, you don't need to go pay people to spread the word for you. Now you can just simply put it on Facebook. You can even make events. Okay, I'm attending this
We
event.
have the biggest example of the uprising in the Middle East.
Right.
It was started as a movement on social media, and then it just spread out throughout the Middle East. People started realizing that their rights were being breached, and they got collected at a place and contributed to getting their rights back. So I really feel like you said, it's a major tool for campaigning now.
Exactly. And now that we are discussing the positive aspects, I am pretty sure you all have heard, and we have heard, about the chaiwala. That's the latest sensation on the internet these days, which is funny, but at the same time, it's something I don't agree with. That there are so many people in our country, or other countries as well, that are probably going through the same thing. But it just shows that it's just so unnecessary, but it shows the power of the internet, that he was just a chaiwala one day.
Yeah, but I look at it in another way. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like, okay, he's just one individual, but still he got a recognition. He was someone who was coming from a really poor background. He didn't have money, he didn't have food. Now he's getting some kind of money. Now he can support his family. So I feel like, although, like you said, there are so many other people who are not being recognized, but we should be happy about the fact that there is one individual
person,
who has been recognized, and his life is going to change.
And the
so that really
recognition
matters.
The recognition actually came from social media. One day he was just a picture on the internet of somebody who had randomly taken his shot while he was pouring tea.
Yeah.
And then the next day, he's all over the internet. And now he's even gotten a modeling contract.
Good for him.
Yeah. So that is the power of social media, that if you want, you can become something overnight. Literally, overnight.
That's true, that's true. And do you remember Justin Bieber?
Yes, I think that was also a very good example of an internet sensation.
Yeah, he just uploaded one song. It wasn't really like one of the best songs that we can say it was, but he still got really popular. He has made a career out of that one song. And now he's like, there's a whole campaign behind him, Believer campaign, Bieber Fever.
Bieber Fever, but obviously with time it's probably going to sideline and everything. But I think all in all, the truth is that social network has had a good impact on society and a bad impact on society.
True.
The thing is that each generation is going to take it differently. Like, for example, my grandmother, if she's at home and we all are sitting in the room, we are using our phones. She isn't. Because that's not something that her generation is accustomed to.
Alienated from that.
Yeah, because that's not something that's common to her generation. For our generation, it is. And for the next generation, we don't know what will happen.
True. So, should we move on to the questions now?
Yeah, I think we should.
I think we have some questions coming in. Let's see, we have the first question from Shifa Mir. How do you think social media has affected the lives of people in the recent times? I think, as we just mentioned, that it has affected the lives of people in various ways. For me, personally, I feel like I can stay connected to people that I have met in the past 10 years on just one platform. I can share my stuff with them. I can talk to them. I can also post my talent, my credentials on that one website. And people can notice me from that website. What about you, Dua?
I say that obviously in recent years there has been a drastic change in the way we talk and communicate with people, and yes, it has been good in a way, it has been bad in a way, but I think the bottom line is that it is good, because if anything, it's just increasing awareness, and that wasn't something that was possible in recent years, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because if you wanted somebody to know about something, you wanted to create some kind of awareness, that wasn't possible on such a large scale easily. But I think that day by day, the awareness for a lot of issues in our youth is increasing, and using social network to actually bring those issues forward is a pretty good idea.
That's right. We have the second question from Ali Heather. He's saying that, are you a pro media, social media, or
anti-social
media?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a difficult question.
I'm honestly a pro social media because I'm looking at the good things about this platform. I personally, like I said, feel that it all depends on an individual. If you want to use it in a good way, you will use it in a good way. If you want to use it in a bad way, you will use it in a bad way.
I guess I'd say I'm torn between. There are days when I really feel that, okay, social media, that's the place to be. But then there are days I'm just like, why do I even have these things? They mess with my head, and it's just so unnecessary.
Yes, we all have those days.
So I guess it's like I said, two sides of the coin. It can be good, it can be bad, but it also depends on the person at the end of the day. if I don't consider social media to be the center of my existence, then it won't be. But if I make it a headache for myself, then it will start getting to my head and causing problems in my life.
I agree. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it depends from person to person.
Okay, Doa, there's a question for you. How many social media accounts do you have?
That's kind of
This is by Faisal Sheikh.
well, I guess the regular ones. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Snapchat, and
That's a lot.
I think that's enough.
Yeah.
I think for one person, we don't need more than that.
Yeah, I mean, just look at it. We have, even I have like 5-6 different accounts.
Yeah, and how are we all managing that? 5 different accounts at the same time? We don't even realize it. It is sort of multitasking in some way or the other if you think about it. Okay, but first you log into Facebook, okay, you check that. Then you log into Instagram, then you check that. And then back and forth, back and forth. That's what we do all day.
I agree.
I don't think survival without the internet is that easy anymore, because wherever we go, the first thing we want is a Wi-Fi password.
Yeah, when you get into a hotel, when you get into a cafe, the first thing that you want is a Wi-Fi password instead of anything else.
And they even put up signs, okay, we have Wi-Fi, we have Wi-Fi. That's sort of their own way of promoting
it's a big business now.
Yeah, that, okay, come to our place because we have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I guess that's enough for today.
Right.
I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. We tried to cover all the aspects. We talked about the good things and the bad things. Honestly speaking, in the end, it all depends on you, according to me.
I think we've highlighted how social media has become a part of our lives, and if nothing else, this is just going to increase. But instead of making it a communication barrier for each one of us, why don't we try to actually use it for a beneficial means of communication in the future? I'm Doa Absar.
And I'm Raja Saror. So hey, we hope you enjoyed the show. And that's it for today. See you in the next show.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.